Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Welcome to the gamer section where we do this for the gamers, by the gamers. I am Kano, the brutally honest gamer. I know people laugh at the name Kano a lot, you know what I'm saying? But anywho, we're gonna go ahead and get into this interview, which is about to be another epic situation that's going on for everybody to view. So let's go ahead and get into this interview and go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, thanks for having me on. My name is Noel DELISLE, and I am the marketing coordinator at 8 Circuit Studios, and we're currently making a game called Project Genesis, which is a sci-fi PvP shooter set in a space environment.
Absolutely. And mind y'all, I did a lots of research, and from what I've seen with this game, very, very epic, like an epic movie. Very, very. So let's go ahead and dive right into it right now. Okay. So, what was the first game that you've played that made you fall in love with gaming?
Oh wow! So I'm dating myself a little bit here. The first game that I ever played was pre-Windows actually, and it was on DOS, and it was a game called Treasure Cove. I think it came out in like 1992. Wasn't even a save function in the game, and I got hooked. I was hooked from then on, and then kind of fast forwarding a little bit when it got into the era of like the Half-Life games, like Unreal Tournament back in '99 when Halo came out. That really sucked me in and got me pretty. I felt pretty in love with the shooter FPS type genres, and it was pretty much history after that. So I enjoy a lot of different games. Started with something that had nothing to do with shooting, but pretty early on in my life, converted over into really loving shooter based games. And probably the first one was around the Half-Life era, but the 1999 Unreal Tournament locked me in pretty much for good.
Wow, Unreal Tournament, that brings back a lot of memories. Thank you for bringing that up. That's actually a memory type of game for sure. You know, so what made you get into the game development side of the marketing side of the team that you are starting to develop games with?
Yeah, I kind of always wanted to bridge the gap between. I played competitive, especially in the shooter space, for quite a few years, and prior to getting into the game dev industry, but always kind of wanted to make that transition, and to really just kind of bridge the gap between stuff that I really enjoy with being able to introduce things to people that they end up falling in love with, while also matching it up with something that I already love. So it was a pretty natural transition for me to want to go from being a consumer of video games to wanting to then be able to be on the side of getting people to fall in love with new games, because it is a cool experience. And for anyone that's played any games where you really fall in love with it, like even to like the Unreal Tournament kind of example, you can make a lot of pretty long lasting memories that follow with you for quite a long time. In terms of the team as a whole, a lot of the members of our current dev team, and we fluctuate around about 10 to 12, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less, depending upon development needs at the time. But a lot of them met each other working at AAA type studios, and ultimately eventually got together and wanted to work as an indie team for a little bit more freedom, and then to create like a game that was a pretty unique idea at the time, in mashing up some multiple game genres, and have the freedom to kind of build something together. And so broadly speaking, as a team as a whole, that's kind of how this team itself was formed.
Okay, well, I gotta ask you, who was the brains behind putting this team together?
Yeah, so James Mayo is our CEO and navigator at 8 Circuit Studios. He's been in the game dev industry for about 30 years. Worked at Nintendo and then at Microsoft and all sorts of different games: Donkey Kong Country, Super Mario World, Age of Empires 2, and a bunch of other ones. And worked in the corporate side of the bigger studios in the game dev industry, and really wanted to kind of do his own thing and make his own studio where he would have the freedom to pick people that not only that he met throughout the game dev industry, but also work with some of the people that he'd become friends with working at other studios.
Right. Most definitely. So let's talk about Project Genesis, right? Like, what was the idea behind the name of Project Genesis?
Yeah, so Project Genesis, the name itself actually is a working title, and we are actually prepping for a rebrand for the what will become the final name. So right now it's a working title. The concept though is that in addition to mashing up both space combat, which we love, as well as FPS gunplay that we also love, was to create an environment centered around a world in which in the future where AI ultimately encompasses consciousness. So in the game you are embodying AI that has reached that level, and then is having to complete different objectives and traverse across multiple spaces in the universe to both control as well as establish new footing in new areas.
Okay, so like, are with the players that's actually playing the game, are you mostly playing with human, like in spaceships, or more of like robotics in the game?
Yeah, can you clarify that for me real quick?
Like, are you playing as a human or more like on the robotic side, kill robots on the game?
No, so you're actually like in the game, you actually are playing as an AI that has consciousness. So you and you transition between an AI in first person in kind of like a run and gun style Halo or Call of Duty type feel and speed, as well as transitioning through and this transference to operating in Battlecraft, where you're operating in the space environment.
Okay, but question: does it have any like types of classes of each of the AIs, or it's just like one at a time?
Okay, yeah. So you're referring to like a class-based system within the avatars?
Yeah.
Currently, we actually just recently stripped out the classes in exchange of like an a la carte system for an ability system for avatars. Our Battlecraft, the spaceships do have a class-based system that we're actually working right now on fleshing it out quite a bit more. Currently, it's still in the kind of the beginning stages of the classes where it's more so HP and speed differences, but the avatars currently, there's a variety that you can choose from for an aesthetic look and feel, but there is not a class system for avatars, but there is one for the Battlecraft spaceships.
That sounds dope. Sounds dope. So, are there any customizable aspects in the game included in ships and weapons and the AI, or it's kind of like later on down the road?
Yeah, there's quite a bit of customization right now. So right now that you can set up 4 different loadouts for both your Battlecraft as well as your avatars. There's tons of different avatars and Battlecraft to choose from. We have primary, secondary weapons for both Avatar and Battlecraft. We just recently put in the first iteration of our active abilities. We're going to ultimately have active, passive, and ultimate abilities for both Battlecraft and avatars. The active abilities, the first iteration of that is in the game right now. And then as far as visual customization, we have a variety of skins that you can, most of which you can earn simply by grinding in the PvP game modes. And as you level up your account, they get awarded to you and you can skin out your avatars or your Battlecraft.
Dope. So like when it comes to the weapons in the game, like in the first person or third person aspect of it, like what type of weapons are actually in the game? Do you have like guns in it, like with AK-47 type of guns or assault rifle type of guns? Can you slash people with knives? The people want to know, like, what type of weapons are in the game?
Yeah, sure. So for avatars, since you mentioned that specifically, we have for primary weapons, we have SMGs, we have assault rifles, we have LMGs, and we have DMR sniper type weapons. And then for secondaries, we have pistols and revolvers currently. We do have plans to also include some more futuristic type weapons. On the Battlecraft side, we have roughly for like categories of weapons for primaries, we have some hit scan weapons, we have some projectile based weapons, we have some beam weapons like lasers. And then also we have some sniper long range weapons. The secondary weapons for Battlecraft are almost entirely homing weapons. So different types of missiles or clusters that you can, when you get in range, you can lock onto your opponent, and your secondary weapon will fire something that will home in on them or target them automatically.
Okay, that sounds very interesting. Excited. Hopefully one day y'all add like a sword in it too. That'd be fire, like a futuristic sword, and go around sneaking people.
Like
That'd be
Halo side. Right now we do have as one of the we do have throwables as well in the game, both tactical and lethal for avatars. And one of the lethal throwables that you can equip right now is a throwing knife, where if you impact the head on any other avatar, it's an instant kill. So it's not quite like the sword from Halo where you slash it around or stab them with it, but you can throw it currently. But a lot of plans for more futuristic weapons for the avatars, especially.
Oh, that's dope. That's dope. So we're gonna go ahead and go into the chat. There's a question from SINISTERTARHEEL. Shout out. He said, "How long did it take to develop this game, and also, what software is being used to make this game?"
Yeah, sure. So the game is currently currently running on the Unreal Engine, and we're about 4 years into development. We've got about 9 months left. We're currently in pre-alpha, by the way. We're pre-alpha, early access on Steam, and we're about 9 months from wrapping up the pre-alpha development cycle.
Hey, that's sick. That's sick. Okay, so basically you're in alpha, you're about to be in beta, where everybody can test it, basically. So, okay, what will be in the next testing phase of this game? Like, what is there that we can play, and what we can't play in this beta?
Yeah, sure. Well, we're actually not even in alpha yet. We're still in pre-alpha. So the alpha phase would be the next one. The game is fully playable currently on Steam, and actually since we're in the weekend right now, we've been running each weekend on Steam, utilizing the Steam playtest feature and opening up the game so you can play for free on the weekends from 4 p.m. Pacific on Fridays to 7 a.m. Pacific on Mondays, and play everything that's currently in the game. The next kind of phase of things that we're working on in our next pre-alpha milestone is we're doing a big pass on weapons for avatars. We have some new original weapon models that are coming into the game. We have some right now that are placeholders currently. So we have some really cool weapon designs coming in. We're doing a pretty big pass on how the weapons handle, things like damage drop off, over range, recoil patterns, really kind of fine tuning the balance between the weapons. We also have been doing on the battlecraft side, we're making a lot of refinements to the ship movement and how they interact. We did a big change recently, and kind of for context purposes, one of our goals was in combining space combat and FPS gameplay, was to make the control scheme as consistent as possible. So you're in third person in the battlecraft combat, which is about 50-50 split for each game mode in spending it in avatar or whatever. But we made a bunch of changes to improve the way that the handling of the battlecraft is, to make it more in line with the fluidity of the FPS combat. So we're refining that per ship and per each battlecraft to make it a little more intuitive, effects and movement and whatnot.
It sounds dope. Very dope. Very intriguing. So, people want to know this question too. Now, not just me, but the people want to know, because we like to play PvP games and also PvE games. So people want to know, will there be any single player aspects of the game?
There actually is right now, and it's kind of the foundation for what we want to build out, whether it ends up being a story mode or a co-op mode or a campaign mode. I still have some of my most fond memories of, say, Halo, for example, of playing the campaign mode. I love that.
Right.
And we love that stuff as well, and we know a lot of people do. So we currently have the first iteration of what will be a much larger single player PvE game experience. And right now, as you level up, each time you hit 100 levels, each 100 level increment, playing in our PvP game modes, you are awarded with a prestige level, which gives you some cool aesthetics. But also what it does is it unlocks hidden biome environments, and in each one of those biome environments that are different terrain and different look and feel for the location and the weather and the foliage and whatnot for the environments. There are areas that you explore by yourself. You also fight off bot AI that you'll encounter as you kind of travel through these, and collect memory drives in each one of them that add to your player profile. So it's a very beginning iteration of it, but right now one of the things that we're also working on is incorporating into each one of these environments for kind of our next update or updates, things that you can collect, multiple objectives that you have to do as you explore the different areas of the environments. But yes, the short answer, we want to do a lot more with PvE down the road, and we have a little bit of it in it right now.
Okay, that's very interesting. Very interesting. So on the multiplayer side with the PvP, what other modes are in the multiplayer aspect of the game?
Like what type of game modes do we have on PvP?
Yeah. Like, do they have capture? Like,
Sure.
I wouldn't say capture the flag, but stuff like that in that realm.
Yeah, so right now we have 3 game modes in PvP with 2 maps per game mode. We have a game mode called Dominion, which is very similar to like a domination in Call of Duty, where you have to capture and hold different areas. And it's the first team to 1,000 points wins. By the way, it's an 8 versus 8 in setup and matchup in each one of the PvP game modes. We also have a game mode called Onslaught, where there are 2 bombs. One's located outside in the exterior environments that you have to either attack or defend with your battlecraft. And then there's also simultaneously one on the interior that your team has to defend or attack in avatar form in FPS. And the third game mode that we have is called Detonation. And that's one that we kind of just made specifically around this idea that of having half the combat in space and battlecraft and half in avatar form. And the way that players transfer back and forth between that is through this animation and interaction called breach and board, where your ship docks into a larger capital ship and you transfer into your avatar form. And so basically in this game mode, you have a capital ship that your team has to defend, while also sending some of your team to attack a mirrored enemy capital ship. And there's objectives like hacking terminals, capturing core AI, and ultimately planting bombs that detonate the enemy's capital ship. So while the enemy's also trying to do the same thing to yours. So it's this kind of game of tug and war where you got to defend while trying to ultimately overtake and destroy the enemy's capital ship while protecting your own.
Hey, that's dope. That seems like which is leading to my next question. This seems like that mode in particular would go into something like esports league and stuff like that. So do you consider this game to get into the levels of competition in a competitive sense of esports and stuff like that? And why, if it does?
That certainly would be like the dream, right? There's a lot of moving parts to that at that level, of course. For starters, one of the things that we'll be doing when the game launches is we will have a competitive ranked playlist in the game for the ranked stars and the people that want to grind and play in that competitive environment. Since it's an 8 versus 8 and there's a lot of moving parts and there's a lot of ability for teamwork and tactics, I think that there's certainly the possibility that if the game got popular enough that might be a possibility down the line, of course. But that would be a dream, honestly. And I love seeing games played at the highest level and the highest level of mechanical skill and game sense and game theory. So that would be awesome to see. But there's definitely a ton of emphasis in this game on objective completion, which really lends itself to trying to encourage and require team-based play. You can't just frag your way to victory, even though the kills are important as well.
Oh, dope. So I always ask a lot of game devs this question, and this is like the $1 million question. And it's like, why should people want to play this game?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'll tell you the reason I like playing it. And again, like this game was already in development before I came onto the team. And for me, especially someone coming from a shooter background, like the FPS, very, very, in many cases, like straight up shooters, like the CS:GOs and the Rainbow Six Siege and that sort of thing. There was enough familiarity in things that I knew, while also giving me another layer of complexity and another environment that was part of what I already knew, but something that was different. And so what we've tried to do with this game is to try to step outside the box a little bit while still keeping as much as many things as possible that are at like the core fundamentals and mechanics of FPS gameplay, while pushing people to think a little bit outside the box and push them into areas where maybe they don't have as much experience, while still letting them use the skill sets that they know and love. So that was really attractive to me because it was a challenge. I like a challenge. But there was enough that was familiar. And so we're looking, the reason that I would say this game is really cool and people should play it is the fact that because there's so many different environments, you have a lot of flexibility as a player to not get forced into just, hey, here's a gun, try to beat the other person when you see them. There's a lot of ways to that. Maybe you're more into tactics, or maybe you're more into flying the battlecraft. There's a lot of options where you can contribute to your team's success without being forced into a, win your 1v1 in a heads-up gunfight. So it allows for a lot more creative play styles and a lot of variety in how people can play while still being a part of a pretty cool experience that's not just one thing.
Oh, okay. Well, I definitely could see this being in the competition side of esports, most definitely. And this will be a talked about game in the long run. So the key question, this is like the final question of this interview, is like, when will this game be released in its entirety, and what platforms will this be on?
Yeah, so like I mentioned before, it's in pre-alpha early access on Steam, so it's available for PC currently. We're about 9 months from pushing into kind of 9 months to a year from wrapping up the development and launching the game. We have plans to make it not only cross-platform but cross-play. So having it on console, and even things, if we're trying to get it even on things such as like the Steam Deck, for example. But the Xbox, the PlayStation, those platforms, and allow for cross-play as well. Okay. But currently it's available on PC. So.
Okay. Well, it's coming soon in its entirety to a theater near you. I'm just playing. Now, it's coming soon to all PCs, basically, and all platforms very, very soon. So it's very exciting, man. And where can they find you at on social media?
Yeah, so for the studio itself, it's we're 8 Circuit Studios is pretty much the handle for everything. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Play_Genesis is the game's Twitter. And then discord.gg/8 Circuit Studios is our Discord server. One thing I want to, if you don't mind, if I can throw in there, is something that has been super cool that we've done that's a little different than a lot of studios, whether in the indie or AAA space, is a large quantity and a large amount of the things, the mechanics, the features, the game modes, the weapon balancing that is in the game currently has been a direct result of feedback from our community. And we have what we call our affiliate partner program. And there's 4 aspects to it. And it's just community members that want to get involved in game dev. Some people that maybe want to get a foot in the industry. Some people that just want to have a voice and have feedback in game development. We have ambassadors that are kind of like a welcoming committee. They also, are mods for our Discord. We have creators that live stream or create video content. We have test pilots, and test pilots is a huge part. Any of you that are interested in this, if you visit our Discord, you can apply for this. And the test pilots, Monday through Friday, they test the game. We've collabed with organizations like Wounded Warrior Project and Stack Up, and they test and give feedback. It's real life game dev experience that if you're interested in getting into the game dev industry, it's stuff that you could put legitimately on a resume. But they find bugs, they write bugs, they learn how to report bugs. They get to give input and feedback and suggestions. And then we're about to spin up the 4th element of our program, which is Ace Pilot. So these are like the hard charging gunners, like the fraggers that have a lot of high level competitive experience, even in like a ranked setting for games that are signing up right now to get in on that and be able to help us with feedback for weapon balancing, game balancing, stuff like that. So that's a huge part of what's in the game currently, is direct feedback from the people that are interested in playing it. And that's important to us. And it's seemed to prove pretty important to the people that are helping us out. And it's been awesome to get that much support and input from people that really want to play the game and see it succeed. So we welcome that. And if there's any of you that are watching or listening to this and you're interested in that and want to kind of get your hands dirty or see behind the scenes or see the newest stuff before it's released, we would love to get you in on that and get you some experience behind the scenes.
Well, and also the link will be in the description below for that too. That's news to me. That's an announcement. I'm just like shocked. That's really an announcement. I didn't even know nothing about this. We definitely gonna have to give the link to that description below for sure, because
Awesome.
we got to have people come and join that program too. That sounds dope. You know what I'm saying? That's a congratulations, man. That's an announcement, So wow. Well, with that being said, man, y'all go ahead and check out the program. Like I said, link will be in the description below, along with the gamer section links where y'all can find us at, and also for Project Genesis, the link will be in the description below, and to the Steam and where y'all actually can find this game too. So, with that being said, make sure y'all like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell when we drop videos and all other content that we have. The gamer section is only going up for here, and we do this for the gamers by the gamers. Have a good day, y'all. Peace.